Good morning, friends. I just realized that my microphone was underneath all of that hair. So we're going to have to do it this way. We're going to have to get all of this hair over on this side to keep it out of the way, which is okay. It's just a lot of hair to move. Good morning and happy Mother's Day. Oh, there we go. Okay. Somewhat contained. I may end up throwing it into a ponytail before the day is over. But happy Sunday brunch, happy Mother's Day to the mothers who mother in whatever mothering way they want to mother. Um, it is an absolute gorgeous day here in Frederick, Maryland. If you are new here or you're catching this at a later time and you're new to watching lives or recordings, I am Shannon of SleighArts. I do a lot of FPP on my channel. I'm definitely hooked. And today I'm going to be working on month 3 of the Legit Kit Sewphia block of the month. I was one of the OG certified Legit Kit instructors. I went, so that was October 2 years ago now. And while I decided not to re-up being a certified instructor, I still very much adore the folks who are instructors and the new ones that came on board. I love that there's a whole new crew. So the program is becoming bigger and bigger. I just with my own pattern writing and my own things that I was trying to get into, financially it just didn't make sense for me to do that again this year. So not saying that won't be something that's in my future, but for now it's not. So I am very big into FPP. I like to make bags, and I do like traditional piecing as well, but FPP is definitely kind of my thing. When you are here and watching the reruns, you will see a lot of FPP patterns that are created by folks that I really admire and enjoy doing their own projects. But you can also absolutely any point, you don't have to be a member of the YouTube membership. I have free patterns on my website, which is SleighArts.com. We just finished May's free pattern, which is this way. Yeah. I think everybody decided we like the light up, which was the May was butterfly wings. We just finished this. This is a free pattern. It is a finished block of 4, but it's the same like individual block. This 4 section is mirrored and then twisted, and so you're doing the same actions all the way through. And so there are 3 free months up there and a couple of other free patterns out there. I do have some that you could purchase if you would love to. But yeah, so that's kind of what happens on my channel. A mix of things that I've created, things that we're working on together that other folks have created. There is a membership program if you would like to join, where you get more free things and free sew-alongs, and depending on what level, free whole like full-size quilt patterns. So kind of a mix of fun things. Good morning, Tamala. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day to you too. Excited to see folks join in. I am going to do month 3 of the Legit Kits Sewphia. This month is a little less, well, not just a little. This month is definitely less spicy than month 2. Month 2 had a lot of little pieces. And this one has more of the large swatches of just, single colors. So let us dive in. If you are new here, if you feel comfortable, it's never a requirement, but if you feel comfortable and you're new here, say hello so we can all say hi to you. If you're here and watching and you have your own YouTube channel, feel free to do it's the Nightbot will give you a shout out if you do exclamation mark selfie. So it's all one word and it's all lowercase. So exclamation mark SELFIE, all lowercase, all one word, exclamation mark and the word all together at one time. And let's get into month 3. So they give you the picture of the more saturated color is the section that you're working on for the month. There we go. How it's broken down. So we're doing A3 and A4. We did A1 and A2 was month 2, was month 1. Month 2 is B1 and B2. So month 3 is A3 and A4. As you can see, A3 is definitely going to be the fewest pieces of fabric. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 5 pieces of fabric going into 4, which is going to, 6, forgot the M there, which is going to have a little bit of smaller pieces. Our color guide, lots of the neutrals into the brighter oranges. I love the grays. Grays are my favorite. Besides green. Green's my all-time favorite. But this is our assembly guide. I had somebody ask a question, and I think I answered this correctly, and I just want to make sure I'm saying this to everyone here too. Hi, Jeannie, and hey, Linda. Good morning. Oh, thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate that. Oh, have so much fun with the kids. Happy Mother's Day. Yay. Oh, enjoy yourself. But I did have somebody ask about, and again, I believe I understood what the ask was. They asked about the dotted lines. And if you know Legit Kit patterns and you're working on the newsprint, there are no dotted lines. So I think where the confusion was first, and this makes a lot of sense. If it's the first time you're looking at the pattern and you haven't fully unpacked it yet, and it's the first time you're looking at it, it can be a little confusing. This first page that says assembly guide is just the guide. You're not actually sewing on this page. And so these dotted lines, you're not going to be cutting on these dotted lines. You're not going to be sewing on these dotted lines. This is showing you how the different units are going to build into sections and how those sections are going to build into the completed block of A4. So A4 is going to have 10 different individual units that are going to build and build on each other to create the one A4 block. So that's what those dotted lines are for. And you don't have to worry about sewing onto the assembly guide. You'll actually go past the cut guide, which will show you how, a basic layout, not to scale, but a basic layout of how they would recommend cutting the pieces, which will give you a really good idea. Say if there were a couple more pieces on the nacho cheese color, taking a look at that and understanding, hey, A1, you need to do, or piece 1, you need to do vertically. You're not going to have enough fabric to do it horizontally. So you kind of want to keep that in mind and maybe cut that out first because it's the largest piece, like here in bone too. So the cut guide gives you an idea of what the layout can be. You don't have to follow it, especially if it's just a bunch of like little pieces. Do you cut it how you like to cut it? I am crazy and ridiculous, and I like to use as little fabric as possible. So I definitely put it a challenge to myself to try to, just like in baking, like when I'm doing muffins or cutting out cookies, I like to use as much dough at one time. So I'm not having to reuse and, continue to build gluten. It's a whole thing. I do the same thing with the fabric. I like to use as much as possible in the first pass. Good morning, Del Marie. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome, welcome. I want to shout out when members join us. Give a special shout out to Del Marie, and you'll be able to tell who they are with the little icon next to their name. It's a brand new thing, so everybody has the same icon. And as people come on board, those will change as the months pass. But so once you've kind of unpacked all of those pages to take a look at, then you'll get into the what is newsprint. And this is actually the paper that you will be sewing on and cutting like, so A3 is all in one. Nope, A3 is not all in one. It's got a second piece, but it's a small second piece. So you'll be sewing to this completely, and then you can cut away this extra paper here. So that's what you'll be cutting up for on the newsprint. There we go. Which newsprint is just a very lightweight paper product. You don't have to do on newsprint if you're like printing out your own patterns and everything. But I definitely recommend not printing patterns on, like, when you're printing resumes, you use a really good thick quality paper. Don't do it on cardstock. You want like the cheapest, like dollar store stuff you would just not use for anything that is of high importance, because at the end of the project and at the end of the day, you're just tearing this paper off. It just needs to act as that foundation as you're putting the pieces of fabric together. So you can get reams of newsprint from like Amazon and stuff like that. But if your dollar store has office supplies, just go get a ream of dollar store paper. It doesn't have to be anything cool. There's a million different ways to prepare your paper for sewing. Some folks will use like the back of their snips, and they'll just run it along the sew line that you're going to do. It kind of depresses the paper and makes it easier to remove. You want to be very careful not to go through it because you don't want it to fall apart before you've even sewn on it. You can use a tracing wheel, which is something that dressmakers use, or clothing makers use more than quilter does, but that's absolutely something you could use. Easy to find, nice and inexpensive. You can just use a card stock. We as quilters, I think we get tons of these in projects and things. This is from Legit Kits, and reminding you not to panic. It's just FPP, not to panic. This is what I use religiously. I don't really do too much of the distressing because I am, again, I said I was crazy. I use the smallest thread stitch length as possible, and on some machines that's a 1, sometimes 1.1, whatever. I use really small ones. Yeah, see, plain old 20-pound total totally works. Do not go out and spend money, especially if you're just starting out. What if you don't even like this technique? Don't go spend tons of money on all the things and all the gadgets and all of this and all of that. Just use what you've got. So because this is a kit, it comes already done, and so we don't have to worry about printing it out. Always good. And then all of your colors from Legit Kits are coded with a 1 to 2 letter code, the name of the Kona cotton, the actual color, the name, and code for what you are using within your pattern, which you can then go back and find in the cut guide with the different colors. And then there's the color guide that just kind of tells you all of it. They come alphabetical order by size. So if you want to, depending on how you want to prepare your fabrics, you can keep them in alphabetical order by the size of fabric that you're using. You can alphabetize the all, like just A through Z, no matter what the size is. And then just, go and find the pieces from there. Completely up to you. I do have a video on organizing your Legit kit. My apologies. I've had a cough all week. Organizing your Legit kit, which I used BJ the Blue Jay as the kit to show how to do that. So if you wanted help on how to organize, I show the way I organize it, which is just one way to organize it. You can take what you like and leave what you don't. All right, so let's get going. I am going to start with cutting the papers out. Let's put this up here so it doesn't fall anywhere. The cats don't jump on it. There's no telling what those cats will get into. I'm going to prepare these papers. A3A is one sheet, all of it together. A3B is this one little tiny piece. So I'm just going to get rid of the extras along the side. I'm not being precious about what that looks like. Just removing the extra paper. And those two pieces of paper are going to make the one block. Make sure my hair stays off of that. Then A4 is going to be what breaks down into more of the pieces. So I'll just go ahead and remove the pieces. I just use my rotary cutter. I'm not too worried about it. This is, again, not a heavy paper. It's not impacting the rotary cutter. Truth be told, I just use the rotary cutter anyway, because I'm changing the blade anyway, so I'm not all that worried about it. I sharpen my own scissors, so I'm also not worried about using my scissors. All right. We have this big piece. And what I'm going to do is put all of these little pieces together once I get them all cut out, and I'll just use a pin to hold them all together, so that, or a magic clip, whatever you've got. But I've got so many magic clips running around on different pieces of FPP projects that I think I only have 3. Yeah, I only have 3 left on my station. So I will probably just pin these ones. Donna, good morning. I'm so sorry, folks. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, how do I sharpen my scissors? So I actually have a sharpener because I'm a chef. So I have knife sharpening tools that I like, a whetstone and stuff like that. So I do the same thing for the scissors. You can, one way to really keep your scissors honed really nicely is using, well, if my grandmother knew I did this, she would be appalled and offended, because it would be a crazy expense that she would not agree with. But you can use aluminum foil, and you cut the aluminum foil with your scissors, and that'll keep your scissors honed. Which, honing and sharpening are 2 different things. Honing a blade of any kind, a knife, a scissor, any kind of edge, an arrow, whatever. Honing is removing little burrs, which feels like sharpening, but you're not actually impacting the shape of the edge of the knife, the blade of whatever it is that you're using, you're removing those little burrs, a little, like if you accidentally, like, when you accidentally hit something with your rotary blade and it's got like that something's like curled over a little bit. Actually, rotary blade sharpeners are really only replacing, like removing the burrs, and so making the blade go back to its original shape. It's not actually removing metal. When you sharpen a blade of whatever kind, you're actually removing a very like a little bit of the metal that you're using and reshaping the angle of to like go back to the original angle of the blade of when it was at its sharpest. And some people, like I know a lot of chefs that are very particular about the angle of their knife, especially if they're a sushi chef. You get really, because you're really trying to cut fine things. So much detail, so many details going into that explanation. But using the aluminum foil helps hone the blade to reshape those burrs, get rid of the curved edges and the little nooks and things like that. Which, for all intents and purposes, is kind of like sharpening for, like a quick sharpen. But once a blade gets really like dull, where it's not doing its job anymore, no amount of honing is gonna bring it back. You actually like have to reshape. You have to, because when it's dull, that means like that point that you've brought it to, that's all been eroded away or like smashed away, and then you have to like reshape the metal. I know way too much about that, and I am so thankful that you all went along on that ride with me. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so I have, because of my chefy background, I have tools around the house. They're also, I wouldn't say inexpensive, but there are scissor sharpening tools that you can get on like Amazon, or Harbor Freight has some. When I decide to finally retire and I just go full in on being an FPP designer, and I go full in on running a sewing machine repair shop and everything, I'm going to get one of the like really good scissor sharpening machines and have that be a part, like a perk. Bring your machine and get your scissors sharpened for free. And if I can figure out a way to actually sharpen, the rotary blades are just so small that if you're actually like sharpening and like returning that edge, you would lose, I don't know, it just wouldn't be worth it. Rehoning them though, totally worth it. But the cost to resharpen it, you would be replacing it, and then you would be spending all that money, and it just wouldn't make any sense. Oh, you're welcome, Del Marie. It has been an interesting journey to realize how much of my former life as a chef has influenced my love of quilting and my joy of quilting. From cake decorating, helping me be a pretty good novice long armor with not so much effort put into it, to sharpening blades. It's kind of crazy. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on this guy. Oh, you know what? I ended up using one of my clips. After all of that, I went ahead and sacrificed one of the 3 clips I still have over here. I've got plenty of clips throughout the stations that I'm doing work, just not right here at the sewing machine. I'm down to now two. No, that's all right. That'll be fine. Oh, there's a fly in the house and the cats are going crazy. You may start hearing bass drop start yodeling because when there's something to chase, he yodels. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start because out of both blocks, this is the largest piece. I'm just going to go ahead and start with this one and get that cut because I know once I cut that, the fabric CZ, all the other pieces of CZ are going to be smaller than that. Yeah, we've got a fat eighth of CZ. That's definitely the most fabric we have. So it's definitely being used throughout the two blocks. But this is the largest section. Oops, sorry, just hit the camera. I think, yay, it will fit this way. I'm just going to go ahead and fold this back. I am not going to worry about butting this all the way up and then, cutting to the exact on the edge. I'm going to call this good and then cut at least a quarter of an inch away from this side, probably do a half an inch, but I'm not going to measure that. Just going to make sure that there's enough because this is where the seam allowance is going to be. This is where you'll be butting up your next piece of fabric. So you want to have at least a quarter inch to catch the two pieces together. Hi, Jean. How are you doing? Okay. Also, I don't recommend using a rotary cutter in your non-dominant hand if you aren't comfortable doing so. I am lucky in the whole ambidextrous world, so I don't have a problem doing it. It's not recommended if you're nervous about potentially, talking about burrs, I think I might have a spot on that. I don't know if you can see. There's like one tiny little piece caught on that. I don't know if that's a burr in my rotary blade or if there was something on the table that thought it weird. But all right, so that's that piece. I usually, for muscle memory purposes, I usually start with one and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that I set this up the same every single time. But because this was the biggest piece of CZ, I wanted to get it out of the way. But so I know that this is 6, and I'll go back to going 1 through 6 this time. Valerie, hello. Just got home from bird watching. Oh, that must have been beautiful. I hope it's as beautiful out there in Brooklyn as it is here. It is stunning here in Frederick today. So it's a beautiful day for Mother's Day. I got to sleep in today. My kiddos, oh, you guys should see this. So I don't know if you know me or not, I love mushrooms. And so this is one of the gifties. I got a bunch of chocolate. I got emotional support mushrooms from my kiddo. So chocolate and emotional support mushrooms. Beautiful. I got my brakes replaced. I needed the brake pads replaced and everything. So my son did that. I've been spoiled for Mother's Day, and that's why I got to sleep in. I'm not a big breakfast eater, so I wasn't, I don't wake up early to eat breakfast. I'm not looking to break my fast at 7:00 in the morning. So I'm going to hang out with you guys, and then I'm going to go get some amazing Thai crab fried rice with the family. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Oh, the weather's gorgeous. Love that. Okay, now back to our cutting. So now I'm going to start back with 1, and I lay out my fabrics 1 through 6 and then pin them to the paper. So I know no matter when I come back to it, it's always set up the same way. I don't have to be confused. Okay. LQ is a fat 16th. So it is another of the bigger size of fabric, but not as much as the CZ. So LQ, we're actually going to do piece 1, 4, and 5 of LQ. So we've got a lot going on this first block. And I love the corners where you have 90-degree angles or close to 90-degree angles, because I just line them up on the corners of the fabric. And then I know that those 2 areas are already taken care of. So we are going to do, we'll just hold on there. The arm of my chair just knocked some papers down. What I will also do today is clean up my sewing area, because the fact that the arm of my chair just knocked papers down tells me it's time for a good cleaning. All right. So yeah, something on, I'm gonna have to do one of the also I use aluminum foil just to like scratch the bumps and burrs out of my cutting mat. May have to switch the cutting mat around. Yeah, I can feel my blade getting caught in spots on the mat. So let me take care of that. All right, so this is piece 1. I'm going to leave piece 1 there. And then 5, I think I'm going to be able to get out of here. Let me do it this way. Yeah. All right, let's get the mouse out of the way. That definitely doesn't need to be at the party. Yeah, time to rehydrate. Oh, as I'm cleaning off all of the space around here, maybe I will just take the mat completely off and go let it soak for the rest of the day in the tub. Good call, Tamla. Because that has been some time since I've done that. So that is a good call. We'll give my cutting mat a spa day for Mother's Day. So this is 5. Oh, boogers. So I'll just go put 5 on top of 6, and then 4 is another right angle. I'm going to move this sticker. Because I think, yeah. Here we go. That worked out. So 4, 5, 6, 1, and then it's just these little pieces. One of these days, I'm going to give a tour of my drawer, file cabinet. There we go. That's the word, of all of my Legit Kit colors, all in the filing cabinet. So just stack on top. Great. So I need R and SC. There's SC. There's R. Can you see how small R and SC are? They're just little slivers. So 2. Is it this way? Okay, so I'm not even going to like mess around with the paper. Both of these I can do across the bottom like this. So I'm just going to make sure that I do like a full inch of fabric, and I will be able to cover that. And I can actually just stack up these together. And but let me make sure that R and SC, I don't need to have any more length. Because if I cut off an inch from the bottom and I need a big old hunk of the other way, I'll be very sad. No. So R is that's the only piece. And SC, it's 2 little tiny pieces. So me doing it that way is not going to be a problem. So me going like this will be just fine. I won't mess with anything. So SC is 3, 2, and 1. So there we go. I have 1 through 6 that I will pin. And I'm going to go ahead and get the second piece done, and then I'm just going to sew this up. So I'm going to leave this right here. And we know that R is done, but I'm still going to leave it in its spot. Alphabetically. All right, so A3B, we need CZ and MY. Y, mahogany. CZ is the first one we used, that really big, the biggest piece of fabric. And so I'm just going to line it up here. Make sure the corners meet down here. There's piece 1. And little corner of mahogany. Oh, need to take the blade out. So there we are. I'm not even going to put like a pin in that. I'm just going to sew that together right now. So there we go. Let me turn on my iron. We are ready to start. Block 4A. Blade is closed. Iron is on. All right, let's go. Hi, Teresa. How are you doing today? Teresa says, I ordered a gnome from Cotton Cuts and not sure of how to begin. Did I not get all the directions with the pre-cut fabric? So with Cotton Cuts, you may, when you ordered it, you may have gotten a download for the pattern of it. So it didn't come with the fabric. It actually came in your email when you ordered it. I would definitely double check that because they do that often. It helps save paper and things like, and it can add up depending on how many things you get in the one package. So I would definitely check on that. Hi, Sue. Hi, Gladys. Ooh, I have fallen behind. Happy Mother's Day to all. Oh, Del Marie asking the good questions. Thank you, Tamala. Love the knowledge that we share. And Teresa, yeah, excellent question. And it's easy to miss that they don't always send the pattern in the actual shipment, that it comes to you separately. Okay, let's go ahead. And this is a long, slim piece of fabric. So if you are just starting out, you can use the Sew Line glue pen to hold this piece of fabric in place. Use a little bit, like just enough to hold the fabric in place. If you go too crazy with the glue pen, removing the paper later turns into a nightmare. So I don't want you to be set up for failure. Use just a little dab. You can also just use a pin. I'm just going to throw a pin in the center because I think most folks have access to pins rather than the glue stick. But that glue stick doesn't have to be a Sew Line. That could be Elmer's washable glue. You want to lean towards the washable glue part of any of the glues that you get, whether it's Elmer's or another brand. What it doesn't look like, the brand is not specific to the task you're trying to do. But pins, most folks have pins. So just throwing a pin in to hold the fabric in place, because it's so thin and so like easy to wiggle around. And you want to kind of like make sure it's staying in place for you to add the next piece. And then because we're using solids, right side, wrong sides doesn't mean anything to us. So we don't have to worry about how we're lining up the fabric as far as right side, wrong side. You just, for me, I always do the feel. I feel on the back to make sure that where the fabric is lining up matches where the pattern is saying it should cover. Because we're doing this in reverse, FPP is very upside down and kind of topsy-turvy. And because we're sewing it actually on the mirror side, when you flip the paper down and you know that the fabric covers the image of the reverse side of what we're sewing, then you know once you've sewn it and you flip over and iron it down, press it down, you know that you have the correct placement of your fabric. And that can look really weird for as these angles. This angle of this paper is very gentle. So I'm not concerned about how well this rectangle is going to cover, because the angle is so gentle. But sometimes an angle can be really deep, And when you flip it over to sew, your paper is going to the left and all the fabric is going to the right, and you're like, that doesn't look right. Like it doesn't look like it's gonna work. But when you flip it over to iron it out, then your fabric is flipping back the other way, and it actually does work. It's kind of magic. But this one is such a slight angle. There's not too much fear in. I can tell that the cats have been rubbing against the machine. My thread has come out of the needle. There we go. But yeah, so such a like low angle. We're not it's a obtuse angle, I guess. For the sewing part, again, I talked about earlier when we first jumped on, I talked about how low I like my stitch length, from like a 1 to a 1.1. The recommendation is for FPP a 1.3 to a 1.8. My regular stitch length is a 1.8 on like traditional piecing. I have accepted I've accepted the pain that a really small stitch length, I don't know if you can see that a really small stitch length will give you. I've accepted the trade-offs. All right, gonna set that seam. I'm gonna go ahead and fold the paper back and trim. There we go. I don't know where it went. Here we go. I always use, even in FPP, my Easy Press fabric pen. This is like the Magic Juice you might have heard tale of. And it's called from Acorn. They're a company in Canada, but it's really easy to get their product in the US now. They're at like Fat Quarter Shop. I think you can even get them on Amazon now. But I use it in traditional piecing and FPP and everything. My goal is to have my fabrics feel like they were never two separate pieces of fabric, that they were always joined together, like woven that way. And I definitely feel like I get closer to that feeling using the Easy Press pen. So there we go. Go ahead and give this a trim. I'm going to use a longer. Yeah, there we go. Line it up on the 1/4 inch. Go. Valerie says, my cat's long, fine white hairs float in the air and get caught in my throat. On my thread, my thread. I check so that they don't get into my sewing machine. Yeah, that is true. The pet hair will end up in like the gears and stuff of your machine if the animals are in the room. For me, that's a risk I'm willing to take, but it is something to think about. The cats love to come up and they'll scratch along here and along the dial right here. So there's definitely like dander and hair and stuff happening around the machine. So it just means that, I'm cleaning the dust and stuff out of the machine a smidge more often, I guess, than I would. It's something you should be aware of. Base Drop finally learned that it's not fun to try to eat the thread that's on the machine like this. And now I've said it, and so now he's going to try to prove me wrong this evening. But he got it caught in his in between his fingers, like in the knuckles of his paw, and took off running, and it scared the bejeebies out of him because it just sounded so horrible as he was running away that he has not come back up to do that. So that's good. All right. There's that little piece done. Then move on to the larger pieces. Put that to the side. Again, I'll probably go ahead and pin this first piece down. Again, we're working with solids, so right side, wrong side doesn't play into our setup. It's not gonna matter how we do that. We're gonna have enough no matter what. Or we're gonna have it facing the right way no matter what. Not enough. All right, so I'm just gonna pin it so it sticks to where it's supposed to be. And I did move it around as I was trying to put the pin in, so you need to be careful about that too. Make sure as you're pinning it, you're keeping it in the right spot. There we go. Check, make sure we're all covered. Still think I'm reaching down to move the pin. I'm moving the fabric with the paper, but there we go. All right. And piece 2 is the rectangles that we cut out just from the bottom. We definitely know we've got enough space to play on this one. Oh goodness, started to laugh and it set me off again. Valerie says, have you ever seen how much cat hair gets into a desktop computer? Yes. In my career, I've worked with a lot of service desks and onboarding and offboarding people who are coming in for the company and everything. And you could always tell when somebody's home office was in the basement because of the amount of dirt for some reason, like the dust and everything that gets sucked into the fans and everything. You can always tell when they've been a smoker. Machines take that smell in very much. And then if they were pet lovers and how much time their animals spent around the tower. Oh, I can hear the dogs starting to come alive. So this week, everybody, I'm going to have a Tuesday sew. We'll either do the Virginia block, but no, I think I said Sewphia on Tuesday. So we'll do Sewphia finish up Sewphia month 3 on Tuesday with block 4, A4. And then I am away for a Web Fabrics, which is a shop in Virginia. Their retreat is in West Virginia. I'm away for that this weekend. So there won't be a live record or a live Sunday brunch on Sunday, but from the retreat, I hope to have some really good imagery and show you where we're meeting and some of the projects everybody's working on. So I hope to have a recorded Sunday brunch for this coming up Sunday. And then the following Tuesday, we will do the Virginia block from the Carol Doak 60 state block, state stars and state park blocks. We'll do Virginia next Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. That's the schedule coming up. I am looking forward to it. Hey, Ingrid. Whoop, whoop. Happy Mother's Day. Use my little card here to get piece 3 lined up. All right. And then it's that other little rectangle we cut off. Happy Mother's Day. Ingrid, I hope not only your daughter, but I hope your nephews are spoiling you too. And by spoil, I always mean in the way you want to be spoiled. I think some people have, ideas that there's only one way to show appreciation to your mom or your mom figure or whatever. It's the way that they want to be spoiled. There we go. I am very excited about all the stuff that I've got in the works. And there's a chance. There's a chance that like early December there may be a SleighArts in-person retreat here in Frederick. But I may be setting myself up for failure. So it may be May of 2026. But there could be like the tester teaser one could be as early as December. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm very there's so much stuff in the works. I'm so excited. Oh, good. Good to hear, Ingrid. If anybody is new, Ingrid has the most of the time pleasure, but you know how it is with family. Sometimes, oh dear Lord, of living next door to her brother and sister-in-law and their 3 incredible boys. And so Ingrid gets to be spoiled with love from not only her own kiddo, but from the nephews as well, which is absolutely delightful. I got to do family time with my mom and sisters and nieces and nephew. Last night we went and did game night at my mom's, and that was a lot of fun. We're all very competitive, and uh, one of the games that we were playing, we all may never ever trust each other again because you had to hide what your role was, and so it was, yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of campaigning going on. Oh, thank you, Nightbot, reminding us to stretch a little bit, to stand up. If I'm not going to stand up. There's no telling what I'll do if I stand up. My armchair has already knocked over some papers. Give a little stretch, roll your shoulders, roll your neck. You are working on projects. All right. So we have two more pieces of fabric. The last piece of fabric we're going to be working with is a large piece of fabric, and that can get cumbersome and fiddly and can drive you to distraction. Just remember to take your time, line it up. You can hold it in place with pins at the air, like, just remember not to pin down the paper, because when you're putting it together, like, the papers fold over, remember not to pin down that paper, because you do have to flip the paper up, but you can hold the fabric in place until you're ready to flip and iron. So definitely take some time, give yourself some grace, and help set it up for yourself to have a successful sew for that large piece of fabric that is going to be flopping all over the place. Hey, Becky, thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day. I hope you are doing good this weekend. I'm realizing I need to get my eyes checked. I'm having, like, squinting at the all of the comments over here. Oh, I really do need to get my eyes checked. I'm trying to read. Okay. Thomasina, well, hello from Delaware. Happy Mother's Day and enjoy a great day of sewing. Thank you so much. Welcome. Happy Sunday and Mother's Day to you as well. Appreciate you sharing the Happy Mother's Day sentiment. I'm looking up because the window is right there, so I'm looking up into the light to get a good idea that this piece of fabric is covering what it needs to cover. So I'm not staring off into space. I'm using the natural light coming in. You know, right, just the last piece, and then we'll sew them uh, section A to section B, and that'll be the first block of month 3 all done. And I know it might be a little early, but I think we might call it at the end of this block. Once I've got it all finished up and all trimmed and everything, I may call it because, oh, did I bump that and make that do that? Apologies. There we go. Have a fantastic day, Del Marie. But yes, so once this one block is done, I think I might call it. I'm going to go enjoy the wonderful lunch of amazing Thai food and let all of you lovely women enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And if there are gentlemen out there who just haven't said hello, hi, I'm so glad to have you here too. Right. Last piece. Again, this is where we were talking about. This is a big piece of fabric, and you can it can get frustrating quickly. So you just want to set it up, take your time. And this is one of the tight angles where it's going to look a little weird, which is okay. You're going to see, I'm going to line it up down here and on camera. Let the camera adjust. You see the fabric is coming around all of the corners, all of the edges lined up here. But when we flip the paper over, it gives the appearance that we've done something wrong because the fabric is all down here and the paper's all up there. That's just because we have to sew it and then flip it to align the fabric to where it should be. So do not be deceived by the upside down wildness of FPP. You are on the right track. I think I moved it a little bit. Okay, but we're still okay. All right. I'm going to pull this up and under the machine, and I'm holding it down here to keep it aligned. So if I let it go, there's a chance that the fabric might twist and not be in the same location that we need it to be. So I'm holding it down at the end, and I'm not pulling it. I'm just holding it like gently, just enough. You don't want to pull it either because you don't want to warp the fabric in any way. Right. So there we go. So I can trim this up a little bit because we definitely have extra fabric up here. And I already trimmed the buttery yellow, so I'm just gonna like follow it along to trim this down. And set the seam. Hit it with some magic juice. And then we'll trim this up. So this part too is whatever works best for you. I like to trim all of my units of the different pieces of the block. I like to trim them before I sew them together. Some folks are totally comfortable with this being like, you know, oversized and everything, and they just pin and line up the sections and then they trim after that. Or sometimes they don't even trim after that. They just let, you know, the fabric be there. Um, so that part is totally up to you. For me, in my noggin, my OCD, I need to have it all trimmed up and all like nice. It's just what works for me and makes me feel better. And then I know that I'm lining up the 1/4 inch seams against 1/4 inch seams, and I don't have to like pin so much. And I'm very anti-pin. So as you're doing these things, you're going to figure out ways that work for you and things that you like to do for yourself. But there we go. So there is this part done, and I'm going to trim it up now. Trim it together. Generally like to do the short sides first because that'll make the long sides shorter. And there. All right. Ooh, there we go. That's this one section is the only section where all of these seams are coming together. So there's not a whole lot of bulk in this block at all. You're not dealing with any bulk. All right. And then go there. And this will go there. And so this is the one part that we're going to want to make sure that we're paying attention to where these two pieces meet. And you can, I know I just said I'm anti-pin, but you can definitely in setting up to be ready to sew these pieces together, one of the ways that can help you, especially as you're just starting out, if you pin right, oh, let's let the camera come together, pin right in the pin right in the corners there and here, and make sure when you bring the pin through, you're coming through the pin in the corner there and the pin through the corner there. That'll help you line it all up. I am one to just go for it. So I'm going to line up the paper across the length and just put everything in place and go for it. This is definitely one of those areas, especially if you're just starting off, to do as I say, not as I do. I would for sure pin. And then, like I said, I like to And then use like magic clips or whatever, pin in those corners to make sure that you're lined up right. Use magic clips all the way down. Uh, to make sure you're setting up yourself up for as close to perfection as we can get. Let's see how I did. There we go. And I'm gonna, so from here, I will remove the paper from the seams. If you do this first, it's a lot easier because one, you're not sewing through then paper added into the bulk of the seams as you're adding blocks together. And then you get a better iron as well because you're removing bulk. So as you're pressing your seams, you're removing that extra stuff. So excellent. So again, I go to a retreat this weekend. So we'll have a live on Tuesday where we'll do block A4 of Sewphia. And then I'll be away retreating on the weekend, but I will have a pre-recorded video for everyone on Sunday of the retreat. I've never been to a Web Fabrics retreat. I've never been to this. It's actually at a hotel. So I've never been to this hotel in West Virginia before. So it's going to be a whole new experience for me that I'm excited to share. I will get permission to share folks' work and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll share what I've been permitted to share on a pre-recorded Sunday brunch. And that'll be a good way to give you a behind the scenes kind of thing of what a retreat is like. And then next Tuesday, we'll be back for the Carol Dope Virginia Star, which I'm excited about. All right. Well, I haven't easy pressed it, so it's not going to lay quite as flat, but and you can see it's like kind of curving because I haven't done the easy press. But there is A3 block all done. And so this coming up Tuesday, we'll do A4. And so we'll have A1, A2, A3, and A4 done. So that's the whole first row. I want to do this in quads. So I'm not going to put the row together. I will wait to do A3, A4, B3, B4, and I'll put that quad together. But at some point, maybe not next Sunday, but well, the Sunday after that's probably slow stitch Sunday. So at some point, I'll show putting A1 and A2 and B1 and B2 together. And so you'll be able to see the first quad going together since those are done. I haven't finished all of month 2 yet, so I've got the fabrics all sewn to the units, but I've got to build all the units into sections and then build the block. But there we go. Thank you all so much for being here. Oh my goodness, the fly is now over here. Thank you all so much for sharing this Sunday brunch and this Mother's Day with me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, however you decide to enjoy it. And I will see you again Tuesday evening for the next block, A4. And I'm looking forward. This is coming together fast. Remember, this is a 6-month block of the month. So this is halfway through when we're done with month 3. So it's kind of exciting. We're getting really close. Oh, Erie says, would love to check out one of those retreats, but would be in Massachusetts. Yeah. I'm not sure how often Web Fabrics does their retreats out there, but I'm interested to find out. So super exciting. Thank you everyone so much. Be safe, enjoy, and we'll see you on Tuesday night. Bye now. Let me get my mouse. Bye now.